So this morning we have the opportunity to ponder wisdom. We heard about wisdom in the first reading from St. Paul, and then we hear what Christ in his calling to us has to say about wise living. And thinking about wisdom, it reminded me of this teacher that I had in high school. In fact, I couldn't remember his name, but I remember what he said. And it was one of those teachers, if you know these types of teachers, they really command presence. They challenge you. They engage you. They're funny. They call you to another standard. I think his name was like Santari. It began with an S. But he would always say to us, I went to an all-boys school in Baltimore, that you men need to be wise and mature. That's what education's about, wisdom and maturity. So much so that we never liked to be called immature. When he would call us immature, it would be like like a knife to us. Yeah. We didn't want to be immature. We wanted to be wise and mature. So that brings us to today's readings, because St. Paul speaks about wisdom. And he says, we speak of a wisdom to those who are mature, not a wisdom of this age, not a wisdom of what the rulers of this age would promote. And this is something that's come up this weekend with our father-son retreat. Even last night, we watched a little film, had a little film forum. And it was a lot about the wisdom of the age, with this young man trying to figure out his life. And what was the wisdom of the age that he battled with? Not just him, but we all battle with it. And that would be one, for example, all I need is enough money. So if I just have enough money. I oftentimes run into men who are trying to prepare for retirement. And what is the number that's enough to retire? It always seems to get bigger. Right? It's never enough. All I need is enough money. Or maybe the material, right? The material things in our life. Like if I can just have that next car or the next toy or the next nice flashy pair of tennis shoes or whatever. Our world is so immersed in the material to the loss of the spiritual. If I can't see it and touch it and feel it, it doesn't exist. God doesn't exist because I can't see him. I can't touch him. Unlimited freedom to do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want, right? And yet we know that's false too. That's a lie. Think about the physical laws that guide human life, right? The law of gravity. When we don't obey those physical laws, then there are consequences, right? If I thought I had this unlimited freedom and I threw myself off the chapel roof here, it wouldn't be a good thing, right? That law would break me. Well, the same thing exists in the moral life. There are moral laws that when they're not respected, there are consequences and they bring about hurt and pain and suffering. It's another false wisdom of the age, unlimited freedom. Gratification at all costs. So we have this wisdom of the age that literally is the air that we breathe. We were talking about this yesterday in the retreat. It's literally the air that we breathe. And when you come into a place like Cheshire, it's a different air. There's a different experience. You're leaving that into a different world. That's not the wisdom of the world. It's a different wisdom. And this is what St. Paul says. God's wisdom is mysterious. And the rulers of this world don't know it. And he would say that wisdom is Christ himself, the way. And when you come into Cheshire, you are meeting men who are trying to follow the way. And what is that way? What would be Christ's way? Christ responds to the wisdom of the world. Money and pleasure and the material are little G's. Right, boys? We started that on Friday night. Little G's, little goods in my life. They're not bad. They're not even sinful. They're little G's. But they're not the big G. And when you come into Cheshire, you're looking and meeting men who are focused on the big G. It's all about God and His will and His plan in my life and what He wants for me. And I know that will bring my ultimate satisfaction, fulfillment, and flourishing as a person. Let my yes be yes and my no be no from the gospel today. Let my yes be to this wisdom. Let my no be, no, I don't want the wisdom of the world. I know these things are little G goods, but I know they're not going to lead me to the ultimate big G. Let my yes be yes and my no be no. I reread the first lines of the book of wisdom today, which we read, which capture a little bit of this spirit. If you choose, you can keep the commandments, and they will save you. If you trust in God, you too shall live. The ways of Christ are the ways that give us life, that give us trust in Him. So when I think of Mr. Santori and his wise words to us, right? Be men of wisdom, men of maturity. And he would always say also, you don't be fools. Don't be immature. Be wise. Be wise and mature men. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. That is the message today for all of us. Let us be those men who seek the way of Christ, seek the way of wisdom and maturity, and that will bring us life. Amen.